Welcome viewers to this episode of Samvada video. We have with us today Dr. Kumar T. Bhowmick, and our team of editors are here to interview him. He had been with the Tokyo Olympic team as a doctor, and we'll know more about him in depth as we go through the interview. So I have with me here today Ms. Vandana Basu, Ms. Chitra Sarkar, and Ms. Jaya Ray. And Jaya, will you take the interview forward now?
Thank you, Anandita. Good evening, viewers. We are back again with a very, very interesting and significant Samvada in video episode. Today we have a remarkable personality with us, and we are very proud and privileged to have Dr. Kumar T. Bhowmick. He has been an exemplary professional in his field. He is a doctor, he is a medical practitioner with a bevy of qualifications and achievements to his credit. To begin with, he is part of the National Disaster Management Association as an advisor. He was the chief superintendent of Safdarjung Hospital for 12 years, and then he went on to become the principal consultant in the Directorate General of Health Services, Health Ministry, Government of India. And the latest feather on his cap is that he was the chief medical officer to accompany the Indian contingent in the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. And today, on date, he happens to be the senior most government medical expert in the country today. So, heartfelt gratitude, and we are very, very proud that you are part of CR Park. You are a resident of CR Park. We are extremely proud to have you here in this discussion, and we are really grateful and thankful to you for sparing your valuable time and speaking to the residents of CR Park and telling us more about your exemplary life as a medical practitioner. So, taking the discussion forward, please tell us, sir, you would obviously, the most important and the most interesting aspect is, you have accompanied our Indian contingent to Tokyo. So we'll start the discussion with that. Now, how does one qualify in these kind of exceptional positions, and what does it take for people to really, reach to that level to be able to have these kind of achievements?
Okay. I have been involved in multinational sports for quite some time. Right from 1982, when the Asiad 82 was held in Delhi, I was part of the organizing committee. That time, of course, I was limited to only handling tennis. Subsequently, when the Commonwealth Games were held in 2010, I was in charge of the medical facilities there. I was also the CMO, so I wrote the book regarding all the SOPs which we would be following throughout the Commonwealth Games. And of course, it was always my dream that can I make it to go and be part of the Indian team to go to an Olympics. And this time it happened. The Indian Olympic Association, I think, looking at my long track record of service to the sports, decided that I should be the CMO, and I got selected. Then, of course, as the team was getting ready, the rest of the team left on 17th of July, and I got left behind in Delhi because we were supposed to carry medicines, and the import license had not come from Japan, and it's only the CMO who's allowed to carry the medicines. So I had to wait. Then I never knew Japanese bureaucracy is as good or as bad as the Indian bureaucracy. The papers arrived on 19th evening. So 20th, I had to run around getting them notarized, etc. And then on 21st evening, I took the flight to Tokyo, landed up there on 22nd morning. And then, of course, I was mandatorily on a 3-day quarantine, so I couldn't leave Games Village. After that, of course, by then the game started off on 3rd, we had the uh, official march past, and then the games took off, and I was very much there with the team. So those few days before heading to Japan, it was quite a touch and go affair whether I will be able to reach in time, and whether I can, carry all the medicines which the players would be requiring throughout their stay there. Uh, anyway, I think God put everything in place, and I finally made it there.
So, how many doctors were on the team, and what are the role of the doctors exactly there?
You see, as chief medical officer, I was in charge of dope control of all my athletes. I was in charge of looking after their general health, and also all the paperwork that goes on by putting an athlete onto the ground to participate. There are a lot of paperwork involved, like handing over the athlete to the Olympic Committee. He participates in the venue that comes back to the team. A lot of paperwork in that. All that is there. We had 2 doctors. One was including the deputy chef de mission, who were devoted to COVID duties, because this game was held 1 year later than its stipulated date, and it was held during the pandemic. So there was a huge bandobast for handling the COVID situation. So 2 doctors were exclusively dealt with only the COVID duties. And then we had another doctor who was handling athletics, 1 doctor handling wrestling and boxing. That's all. That was the team that I had. I had, of course, about 5 physiotherapists with me also, who gave us support. And I was able to establish my clinic at the Games Village. That was room number 209 in the Games Village in Tower 15, where the Indian team was staying. And I was able to establish that on 22nd, the morning I arrived. By evening, I had my clinic up and running.
Very interesting, doctor.
So apart from this, as we were talking about Tokyo Olympics, tell us about your experience. What did you see? What did you like? What did you feel? Any unique experience you would like to share with our viewers?
Okay, first of all, this is the biggest multinational. Multinational means a different country participating in one event. So the Olympics is the biggest such event, and it's all events. Like you have, tennis, hockey, everything. All the events are there. So we had something like around 19,000 athletes in the village, and all of us living together in the same village, eating the same food, finding it very difficult to manage without Indian food. A lot of my athletes were definitely complaining about the food. Even I complained about food because I'm not used to eating the same food which I had for breakfast, to eat it at lunch and again at evening tea and at dinner. It was just the same food. The vessels used to just get replenished. So I was not used to that. My wife looks after me very well by cooking me wonderful meals at home. So it became very monotonous to eat the same food throughout the day. Another very big challenge in these games was that nobody could go out of the village. The quarantine was tight, very tight. As a result, almost to the level of, what should I say, to the level of being pushed. The security used to be that tight. Everywhere you had to show your accreditation card. They would make you go through, security protocols all the time, and that another issue was that the venues were pretty far away from the games village. Each venue used to be the minimum distance was about half an hour by their bus, and otherwise almost 1 hour Like going to the main athletic stadium was 1 hour. So you had to factor that in also, get the athlete ready and go in. Then every morning you get up 6 o'clock in the morning, you run down to the dispensary to my office, and there everybody was leaving their sample of the saliva, which would be tested for COVID. And only if you were clear were you allowed to go to the venue to participate in the event. And the COVID protocol was followed so well that out of the almost 19,000 athletes, the percentage of people who tested positive was, you won't believe it, 0.002%.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, that was something which was fantastic. I mean, I couldn't believe it when these figures were revealed to us towards the end of the program. And, we at times used to get a little bit frustrated that where is the Japanese efficiency and all that, because the same paper would be checked 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, even 5 times. But then we could make out that it's all volunteers working, and obviously every volunteer wanted to make sure that he or she was not passing a wrong person through the gate. So that's why there was excessive probably security protocols being followed. Other than that, very friendly people from other countries. Like, we were, the Indian team was on floor number 11, 12 and 13. We were staying there. Just above us was the Cuban team. And the Cubans were very friendly with us. They would just walk into our rooms and come on with the music. And they used to tell that you Indians have no life, no dancing, no shouting. They were very friendly, very, very friendly. And that was the scene all over the village.
So basically, you had to stay within the village.
Yes.
So you could
Yes.
not visit Tokyo as such.
No, Tokyo was under emergency.
Okay.
They put the whole city under emergency. So there was
Okay.
nothing that you could do in Tokyo.
Yeah, because of the COVID also they had to safeguard.
Yeah.
So any special experience with any athlete that you experienced?
There will be an issue of confidentiality because let me tell you that almost every athlete who goes to perform in such high platforms have small niggles. They require a lot of pre-working by the medical team to get them standing. Some of our very top athletes required almost something like 3 hours of working before we could make them stand up and perform. Our masseurs and physiotherapists were stressed quite a bit, and because of the temperature in that area, the temperature was 25, 26 degrees to going up to about 32 degrees centigrade, but humidity was 100%. And especially, say, playing on AstroTurf, a hockey team, they were actually facing temperatures of 42, 43 degrees on the turf because of the friction that the AstroTurf causes. So I had to put in a lot of effort with the organizing committee to get watering done to the pitch during every quarter. So that brought down the temperature a little bit. There were a few other initiatives which I was able to successfully undertake with the National Olympic Committee, where we were able to get a better deal for the athletes. Like my wife was telling me, apparently that time when the girls' shot put was going on, there was rain, and on the area from where they released the shot put or the discus, that circle was quite wet, and because no towel or anything is allowed into that area, they were actually using small hand towels to dry that space.
It's been a pleasure hearing you. But we are curious to know, what do you think is India's stand in the Olympics in our future, in the future? What do you think? We need to gear up, train our people more. India needs to give more concentration to gearing them up for such games. And because now we see that it's not the elite or the super middle class, but it's the lower section of the society, where girls from villages and small families and boys from there are doing extremely well. What is your opinion on this?
No. Sports, especially the Olympic sports, are games which are played by slightly lower middle class and below that. They are the athletes who play Olympic sports. Now, the problem that we had was that we had certain programs running. Everything was going fine. We were on a upward graph till the debacle at Rio. In Rio, we did so badly that all of us were very ashamed that a country like ours had just produced 2 medals, where we couldn't do better than that. So there were a lot of churning in the sports ministry, and a lot of new initiatives came up. One of the initiatives was TOPS, where the players who were identified to be champions could have their own coach, could plan their own training facilities abroad. And in TOPS, for the first time, team games like hockey and men's and women were also included, which gave a tremendous boost to this game. Now you look at what this Olympics has done. You have just seen immediately after the Olympics, our junior athletes have performed so marvelously in Kenya. We had Anju Bobby George training a girl, Shiny, who got a silver medal in long jump. Now that girl is a potential gold medalist in Paris. She is a potential gold medalist, and she's just 14 years old. Imagine she will be playing against the world's top jumpers when she is going to be 17 years old. At the age of 17, and she will take them on. Anju, I'm sure, will listen. And just on the footsteps of that girl, Shiny, is Anju's own daughter. Anju's daughter told us on the interviews there, she said, let Shiny win all the medals. I will come and beat Shiny through and through. That we have created a new generation of sports persons. When you look at athletics, men's athletics, Neeraj Chopra's gold is only the beginning. We have another player who is among the top 12 in javelin. And we have a junior javelin who stood 5th in the world championship. So you're going to see medals in javelin continue. Weightlifting. Look at the horrible days when the Indian weightlifters were banned for drug abuse. And now we have Mirabai Chanu, who picked up a silver. And I can assure you, Paris, you will see at least 4 more lifters who will be amongst the medals. Boxing. Just imagine a girl like Borgohain from Assam, Lovelina, a village girl. The way she stormed the stage and came on, and I'm telling you, if she was a little bit more experienced, she should have won at least the silver. But she got a little bit flamboxed because of the atmosphere and setting that she lost out in the semi-finals. I mean, these are all things which is just going to boost sports in India. And then what the new minister Anurag Thakur is doing, what the Prime Minister is doing, is unprecedented for the Indian sports. We're going to see good times ahead in future. So if I'm supposed to be planning for Paris, that's what I tell all the boys, that you get back into camp now. Enough of felicitations, get back into the camps and get qualified for the Olympics immediate, so that then you have at least 2 years where we can work on you and make you a Olympic champion.
Yes, I have a question, Dr. Bhowmick. Thank you. It's been so interesting hearing about the different aspects of each of the champions. And we have been reading how well the Indian authorities are now looking after our athletes and plan to even look after them further better for Paris. But we hear that the difference between a gold medalist and any other world-class champion is really the mentality, the attitude. So can you tell us what it is that sets apart the gold medalist and whether there is any conscious effort to strengthen that side of the winner's mentality?
We are looking at that.
Sorry, and also just to add on to that question, how can we avoid these kind of situations that happened in Tokyo for Paris? Going forward, what are the lessons we are learning, and how can we work on them to get more, better athletes in the team?
You see, it's very simple. There is nothing like a mental issue. There is nothing like a mental issue in sports. The more you practice, the better you are. It's as simple as that. Let's come back to shooting, where we had the massive debacle. Shooting, the shooters press the trigger between two heartbeats. Only you know when your heartbeat is happening and when the next one is going to come. You have to practice it so well that one heartbeat is over, the trigger is pressed before the next heartbeat comes. You cannot be trained in this. You have to train yourself. You have to be trained yourself. I was saying Lovelina, who got confused because the other girl was more experienced than her. She said, when I was talking to her after the bout, she said that I am playing the semi-final. I wanted to get used to the venue before I hit, and that girl had already scored 4 points against me. She got overawed by the situation. That again, nobody can train her to that. That she has to learn on her own, that she has to start hitting the opponent right from the first moment. But we saw such beautiful teams of
that's a pity.
spirit.
Yes.
In the high jump.
Yeah.
High jump where the person, he said, I won't jump further because that means then both of us can share the gold medal. If I jump higher and win, then I win. That poor chap who has broken his leg does not get a chance to share the gold medal. I mean, such a thing you rarely see.
Yeah, that is sportsman spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the sportsman spirit came.
Right.
Yes.
And also, I think, Doctor, I'm forgetting her name. She was a qualifier in the fencing event. She's a priest's daughter. I think she just lost out in the final qualifying round. I'm not able to remember her name. And people were really, raving about her attitude, her spirit, when she was playing, and how she prepared herself, always.
That way, even our girl, Bhavani Devi.
Yeah, Bhavani Devi. Yeah, that's her.
Bhavani Devi. I mean, fencing is hardly a sport in
India.
Hardly a sport in India.
Absolutely.
And to win one round and almost make it to the third round.
She almost made it to the bronze medal.
Yeah.
She almost
It was terrific.
Terrific. It was amazing. It was amazing.
So, these are the stories which next Olympics, you find all of them are going to be medal winners.
Right.
All these people are going to be medal winners.
And I think at the end of the day, it's all in the mind, how we are able to take on the pressure, how we are able to deal with our own, shortcomings, and really go out of our way to practice and to show that, our true skills. So it's a mind game as well as a physical game for sport.
Yes.
And without a mind game, you cannot win anywhere. Be it sport, be it any other field. I think you have to be really, really strong mentally to be able to withstand all the pressure that's coming in. A whole country of 130 billion people watching you, and you are just out there. You're on your own. Somebody was saying the other day, that when I'm performing, I'm all alone there. Nobody is there with me. And 130 billion pairs of eyes watching me.
No,
So you
and
can imagine the kind of pressure.
this Olympics was even more challenging.
Yes,
There are no spectators.
exactly.
There are no spectators.
No
Now,
spectacle.
even Neeraj Chopra, he claps to
Yes.
get the crowd clapping with him for his rhythm. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it because must have been a handful, about 20
Yeah.
Indians sitting there cheering for him.
And every time he was throwing the javelin, the 4 or 5 people from the Indian contingent who were sitting on the pavilion, they were all standing and cheering for him like this. And it was so amazing too. And they were shouting at the top of their voices, which would reach him at least, so that he gets encouraged.
Before I left for Tokyo, we got a flyer from the organizing committee, which said that when we sit in the stands, we are not supposed to be shouting. We're supposed to have best of behavior. So my wife and my daughter, who had just come along, told me that, Dad, you get excited and carried away. You start shouting at the sports. You can't do that. Oh no, all of us were shouting because
Yeah.
the moment was such.
And I watched actually all the videos on YouTube, of all the entire Indian contingent, because there's no other way that you can really look at them performing. And I was watching Neeraj Chopra, every time he was going for the qualified round, and he was sweating so much, and he took off his t-shirt, he changed it 2-3 times, and then he went again. Third time he got it at 87 meters. So it was amazing. I think, but all thanks to you, Doctor. I think it was amazing talking to
Thing
you.
with me, my job was to look after the health of my athletes, which I think I did fairly well.
Yeah.
But it was the sports persons, athletes who struggled and who fought and came out on top.
Just one quick question, last Doctor. Just wanted to know that all the athletes have one. You have, let's say, 4 or 5 set of doctors and physiotherapists and all. So do you need specialists for special athletes, like for the wrestling guys you have somebody, and for let's say the marathon runners you have somebody else? Is that or you just work as a cohesive team for all the athletes?
So we work as a team for all the athletes, because it just cannot be possible that for each athlete we have his or her own doctor.
Of course, PV Sindhu, she was also, I think, you took care of her as well,
Yes,
the tennis guy.
Yes. I have photographs with her immediately after winning when she came back to the village. I have photographs with her. I have photographs with her coach, because the coach was searching for her.
Yeah, he's Korean. So, can you share some of the photos with us, if you don't mind, Dr.
They're all on my mobile phone. I don't know.
If you can share 1 or 2, we would love to publish them on while we are interviewing you. We would love to publish some of the photographs.
What photo with Neeraj Chopra?
Neeraj Chopra and PV Sindhu, and maybe Bhavani Kumari is possible.
No, I haven't. I don't have a.
Okay.
And Mirabai Chanu.
And
Whatever
Mirabai.
you have.
No, Mirabai Chanu, unfortunately, I have a photograph with her and the chef de mission, because our chef de mission was a weightlifting person.
Okay.
So he just, he was so overcome that we have been able to break the shackles of doping. That
Thank you so much, Doctor. It was wonderful talking to you. And
Can I interrupt for a sec? I just had a suggestion. We've heard so much about Mrs. Bhowmick. If she's available, could she come and say hello in your screen?
sure.
let her.
Hello, Mrs. Bhowmick.
I'm Monisha.
Monisha, hi.
Hi.
Heard such wonderful praises of you that we had to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely delightful listening to Dr. Bhowmick. And again, we are extremely proud that you are a resident of CR Park. And I'm sure this is going to be an eye-opener for all our viewers. That we have an Olympic team member with us in our very own colony. So thank you once again. We will look forward to the 2 photographs, and this video will also go into our digital platform of Samvada. And we hope we will catch up again sometime. And all the very best to your team for the Paris Olympics.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we are really proud that you're our neighbor and a member of CR.
Yes, yes.
You stay round the corner for us, Choksa.
Yeah.
You are just round the corner.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Just behind our lane, I mean the next room, isn't it?
Thank you
Lovely.
so much, viewers. Yeah, and we'll see you again in our next video that also promises to be equally interesting. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye bye.